Welcome to Mystere Creations. This is part 1 of a two-spirit journey. Today I'm speaking with Mane Jakabe, a two-spirit elder of the Beaver Clan in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Welcome, Mane. I'm glad to have you on the show. Today we're going to be talking about two spirit and issues with that, as well as about you yourself, and we'll see what we can get into today. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I am Mane Jakabe. I live in Thunder Bay, Ontario. I am a Beaver Clan, and I am a two-spirit elder. I call myself two-spirit elder because I wrote a book, A Two-Spirit Journey, and then people know me as that. But before that, I was working with, I did a lot of jobs, different jobs like AIDS committee. I was an AIDS committee person for a long time.
Excellent.
I did social work for a long time. I've been working with families and single people individually before, just on my own. I didn't get paid for that. I just always been busy working with people, not expecting anything. I just want to make sure. And I'm an activist. I fight for the rights of my people and myself.
That's excellent.
I do a lot of fighting. So people call me trouble now.
It's not trouble as much as trying to get done what's right.
Yeah. For them, it's trouble. Yeah. Oh, here comes trouble. That's what they say. But that's okay.
Yeah. So I've been reading your book, your biography, basically, a little bit, and in you talk about your early years and having to spend a lot of time alone in the woods and the special relationship. Can you elaborate a little bit about that experience for us, please?
Oh, definitely. I used to, when there was, I think I was about 7 when I started going out in the bushes all by myself. Maybe I was 6. I just got away from people that was drinking and acting stupidly and unreasonable people. So I started hanging out in a bush all by myself. My grandmother used to tell me that it was the safest place to be.
Yes.
She was right. And she told me that in the bush you're safer than you are with people.
It's true most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. And so I did a lot of that, hanging out in the bush, getting to know the animals and being friends with them. Yeah, being friends with them,
Yeah.
Getting to know them. And mostly, I love being in the bush because I felt like the trees was talking to me all the time. The trees, the bush, safe there. Yeah.
You were talking about how the trees would speak to you, and
I felt safe with them, with the trees of anything. The bush make me feel safer to be there. So that's what I did a lot of time because I grew up in an alcoholic home. People were drinking all the time. And the only reason why I stayed around the house once in a while was my grandmother. She was really, really old.
Yeah.
And she was raising me and looking after me. But, I used to hide her, take her away from the floor, put her outside, we made a space for her. Like I got a guy to help me to build a little area where I could leave my grandmother. It's like a tent, like a dome tent,
Yeah.
but we created it ourselves. Start off with trees and bushes, and then I put the material with the sticks and that, and then so I would take her there, and she would be safe there all by herself with her little
Okay.
bag of whatever she carried around. So, and she would lay there and relax, and nobody would step on her because she was easy to either step on her or people will come crashing on her. If they fight, they're going to hurt her. So that's how I protected my grandmother.
Okay.
And then I went in the bush all by myself and hung out. I would go check up on her all the time, give her some woodlings and give her some tea. She always asked for teas and made sure I had enough bannock for her to eat. Yeah, because she did that for me. So, but I guess I was returning the favor without knowing it. I just know she was like my mom. That's how I knew her as when I was growing up as my mom, because I never know my real mom.
Yeah.
And then my real mom came into our lives and she did not like me. We didn't like each other. So even though we were introduced and told me that she was my mother, but I still consider my grandmother as my mom.
She was the one that gave you the base of your life,
Everything.
everything.
Almost almost felt like she birthed me herself because I was a baby when she started looking after me.
Yeah.
Because my mom gave me up for adoption
Yeah.
when I was born. And then she heard about it and she fought for the adoption. Before it went through, she finally found me. And the people felt sorry for her because, well, this old lady's been chasing, looking for her granddaughter. We might as well give it back to her.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your grandmother, about her history?
She came from Saskatchewan prairies somewhere originally and then ended up in Atawabascut. How the hell did they do that? I don't know how they did it, but she ended up in Atawabascut and she met her husband he was from Quebec across the lake on Hudson Bay.
Yes.
My grandmother was on this side of the Hudson Bay. My grandfather was on the French side of the Hudson Bay. And on his journey, he was on his journey with his dad, and his mom's already dead. So his dad was dying, and they were doing the journey to go up James Bay coast on my grandmother's side, which would be this side. And then they fell in love when they saw each other somehow. My grandmother said she really liked him, and he really liked her. And when he came back 3 years later from that journey, he stayed behind and said goodbye to his dad, and he stayed behind and married her.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Just love it
So
for sight.
my grandmother really loved him. She was from Saskatchewan area. She said she lived in all of her family got slaughtered. Her and her brother her brother and another little girl survived. 3 kids survived of all the stuff they went through.
Yeah.
3 kids survived. They were only 4 years old. Her brother was 3, and the other girl was 4. They're around the same age, and they all both lost their families. So then somebody picked them up, and they ended up in James Bay.
That's
They journeyed.
yeah.
Yeah. She said she grew up and every year they would be moving, going towards Athabasca, be moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she experienced a lot.
Yes. A lot of, yeah, she experienced a lot of cold weather
Yeah.
because they would park themselves up in the summertime. I mean, they would travel a lot in the summer, but in the winter they would camp out for the rest till spring. Then they would do their journey again.
Yeah.
So they would journey from spring till the fall, wherever they were going. They didn't know where they were going. Meanwhile, they ended up in Adwabascut, James Bay coast on this side of Ontario.
Yeah.
If you look at the map, you will notice. I think you will notice the ones on the north side of the lake. No, west side of the lake.
Okay.
West and south side of west and south. Then the east and the north is across James Bay. If you look at James Bay, the mouth of the river,
Yeah.
both of them, she said she was on this side of the coast. That's where that itself from James, the coast around that curve. She said the coast from there to one of the rivers, big river that flows into Lansdowne House.
Yeah.
She said that takes from that river to that corner of the ocean. She said that takes almost, I think, almost 2 years or 1 year to go over there.
Wow. That's quite a
That's
journey.
Yeah, that's a long journey for them, and they're only paddling by the boat,
Yeah.
so they have to winter, stay put in winter, and then travel again in the summer.
Because as soon as it gets cold, it really gets cold in that area.
Yeah, it never freezes. She said the lake never freezes, but they were almost freezing themselves, so they would have to stay in one place.
Yeah. Otherwise, exposure would set in and they'd be gone.
So that's the history of my grandmother.
Yeah. Now, your 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 mother gave birth to you, had to give you up for adoption. Your grandmother sought you out, uh, and in the book you said that you didn't, because of growing up in the orphanage a bit, you didn't know your grandmother's language originally, didn't you?
I know she spoke. I think she was a Cree language then.
Okay.
I just discovered that recently. She's Cree. She
Yeah.
was Cree,
Yeah.
but the man she married was Ojibwe and French.
Okay. So she spoke all three languages.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, and so your young years, where uh, did you guys move around a lot, or did you stay in the Ontario area?
Well, I stayed in that one area where I grew up, where my grandmother, which is called Umbabaca, Ontario.
Yes.
I grew up there. She was there that's where they landed from. Just think from Adwabascut River, like from Lansdowne House River on James Bay coast. They came all those little rivers all the way to a place called Umbabaca Railway, CN Railway Line.
Okay.
So if you look at the map, you will see how many years they must have traveled. She married a guy from there, and they had 16 births, but most of them died. And then they traveled and traveled. And when she first witnessed was Fort Hope was having what was that? Fort Hope was having their first Indian Affairs thing.
Yeah.
They were making people become Indian Affairs people.
Yeah.
I don't know what year that was, but
I can look it up and put that in.
She was in the signed treaty. Then she signed. Her husband told the people there, can you put my wife's name on there to be treaty, because I just married her. We just got married, but we're not totally married by the law. We're married, but we did the we did the native ceremony, but we didn't do it a paper ceremony with the government people. So I want my wife to be Shikabe. Her last name is going to be Shikabe. Kenny Shikabe. I want her to have that last name, and then she'll be Indian. Don't take that Indian rights away from her, because we're not really. We don't have the papers to prove we got married. He told that those people. So they did that. So my grandmother was registered as Indian woman from Lansdowne House area or Fort Hope area. Lansdowne, I guess, and then Fort Hope, all that region there.
Yeah.
And then when she came here, I didn't have any status card then for a long time, until because I was in treaty for a long time, until I think recent years when I finally got treaty,
Yes.
they didn't bother with the paperwork. They just took me and kept me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, going on as you grew up, what challenges did you face?
Well, lots of challenges like alcoholism with my family, except for my grandmother never drank in her life. She did smoke once in a while, but it wasn't like the cigarettes we do. It was like pipe, but she did it out of praying.
Yes.
So she did that. That's the only time I ever saw her smoke, is when she was praying to God, whatever it was out there she was praying to. And then the rest of my family, well, they smoked and drank and gone crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I have hardly no family left except one cousin who lives in Ignis, Ontario, about 4 or 5 hours from here.
Okay.
We're the only two people left, but our kids is the next extension. Her kids and my kids. That's my extension.
Yes.
None of my kids have my grandmother's last name. I was hoping one of them would, but that's a cutoff, I guess. I'm probably the last person with the last name, because my other cousin, she's using her dad's name. Yeah. So I'm the only one who's got my grandmother's name, Kabe, and my daughter, Maya. She lives in Toronto.
Yeah.
I adopted her. She's not my blood daughter, but she's my daughter I adopted. Yeah, I, I adopted her, quite a while ago, and her last name is Shakabe, Maya Shakabe. Yeah. And my son, his last name is different, and my daughter's last name is different because my daughter got married, so she got her married name.
Yes.
And then my son got his dad's name Johnson. So that's how it goes.
There you go.
Nobody's got my grandmother's name.
In being two spirit in the community you were in, did they accept you as that, or did you have
My
to?
grandmother already knew when I was 4 years old. She told me that, but people weren't accepted. She told me that people were not accepted anymore.
Yeah.
The religion killed it all, she said.
Okay.
That's how well, she didn't say it that way. She said the religion changed everybody's behavior.
Yeah.
She said once the white people came, and then the Jesuit and the Black Robe people, they started telling all the First Nations that they don't belong anywhere except they belong with this kind of church. Either you belong to this church or that church.
Okay.
And if you don't belong to that, then you're not gonna get any help from us, stuff like that. They were guilted into something, so they felt guilty, so they had to do it. because we gave away our land. Our ancestors gave it away. So
You're stuck having to deal with the aftermath of that.
yeah, well, all of us native people, our ancestors did that to us. They didn't do it to us, but I mean, they left it where they thought, and they were drinking and they got sidetracked and they didn't know what they were signing.
We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Jason from the Paranormal Patio Podcast. Right now you're listening to my good friend AJ's Mystery Creations podcast, but when you're done, turn the dial a little bit, check out my show too. Head on over to paranormalpatio.com to find info on all my episodes where twice a month featured guests and myself tackle the paranormal from every angle that we can think of. We cover everything from aliens to Bigfoot, ghosts, magic, Mothman, goblins, the Fae, and anything else in between really. I've interviewed some great people on the show, including Monty Scott, Marco Visconti, Lon Strickler, Alan Greenfield, Penny Royal, Katie Webb, Tobias Wayland, Stan Gordon, many more. Tons more. So check us out on our website or on social media to find episodes and interact with the show. Thanks for listening to Mystere Creations, and maybe we'll see you soon in the Paranormal Patio.
Do you like records? Well, Turntable is the best. The owner knows his stuff and can help you find anything you might need. You might even see some famous people there as band members drop in from time to time to check out what he's got. He has posters, CDs, and much more. If it's something rare that you're looking for, he probably has it in stock or knows where to get it. So drop by or give him a call. That's Turntable Records, Bantan Alley, Victoria, BC. And their phone number is 250-382-5543. That's 250-382-5543. Welcome back. What's the most significant hurdle you have had in trying to get people to recognize Two-Spirit people in your community?
Oh, a lot of, well, it's getting better now, but before it was really hard to get anywhere because nobody wouldn't accept gays and lesbians in Thunder Bay. Never mind Anishinaabe, but they wouldn't even accept white people that time. So that was the first hurdle. Then when they started to accept the white people, then I came out with white people. One time there was a battle. We had a battle against something. People were fighting for our welcome ship, it's called, in Thunder Bay, where people go for a ride on the boat, and you can rent it, or you can go on and pay and they'll drive you around. But so we decided to rent the ship. That was a bunch of gays and lesbians did that. They were white people. I was part of it, but they didn't. I didn't make that much difference because I was native. So, but anyway, they took me and they said we're going to go and celebrate our first year anniversary, which was the anniversary of AA to AA for the first time alcoholic gay people. First time they did gay meetings. People been secretly going to meetings, but they wouldn't admit they were gay or anything. But this was a biggie, and they were celebrating their first year anniversary with being gay and going to an AA meeting. So we rented the welcome ship. And then when we got to the welcome ship landing to get on our boat, the people said, no, we don't want no gays and lesbians in our boats. We changed our minds. Here's your money back. And so we fought it, and we got CBC and got a bunch of headline news.
Yeah.
To let them know what they did to Thunder Bay. And then that's when I came out publicly. It was through that part. And when they were asking questions, they asked me some questions, and they asked me, are you gay? And I said, yeah. And that's, I admitted it in front of public. So I came out and I stayed out, and I I didn't try to go back, but I got beat up for being gay from my own First Nations people. There was
Jeez.
5 of them. They beat the crap out of me. And then later on, down the road, 6 months down the road, I got beat up by 6 white women. They beat the crap out of me. So I left after that for a year. I left. I went somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and then I came back to the Thunder Bay again after a year later. People didn't mind me, and they didn't talk to me. They just didn't want to be friends with me anymore. I lost a lot of my friends, and a lot of them were in sobriety too, and they weren't very nice either. So I just kind of hung out all by myself and hung out with the gays and lesbians because that's who I felt safe with.
They were accepting of you, so
Yeah. And then 1988 was another time we try out to come out as gays and lesbians. This time it worked. We came out as lesbians, and I did a lot of speaking that time. I spoke out what I needed to speak out about being gay and about what it was like to live in Thunder Bay and all the harassments that we were getting for who we are, which was really nice. For me, it was nice to tell them that, and then that boosted up everything for us, and a lot of people, started accepting. All the Anishinaabeks quit going to Toronto, quit going to Winnipeg, quit going to Vancouver to come out because that's the only places they would come out. They started coming out in Thunder Bay then. They didn't have to move to go be gay somewhere else.
they could be themselves.
Yeah. And I said to myself, oh, that's because I did it. And now I got people to fight and relax with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's happened since the 80s? Like, has things become better?
In the 80s, yeah, in the 80s was good, and 90s was really good. People started to honor the people in Pride. And then 2000, we had our first Pride and stuff like that, and people were welcomed. And I came out and I did some drag shows, my first drag show in Thunder Bay, and then I did another drag show in Montreal. And then I came back, I did one more drag show in Thunder Bay, and that's what I've been doing.
It's great.
Yeah, it was good. Then I did drag show too somewhere else. I think it was in Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That was funny. Yeah.
You said that you did a lot of activism. Was it mostly to do with gay and lesbian rights and that sort of thing?
No, housing rights. I did some housing rights and family crisis
Yeah.
rights. Family who is being denied of housing, or also families that's been denied from getting general welfare or whatever. Yeah, I did a lot of those stuff. Mostly just on phone, or I would go to their office and threaten them.
And now what are you up to?
Oh, I got a lot of youth following me. I have lots of youth following me from Nova Scotia to the end of the other place. Wherever I go, there's always a whole crowd of young people trying to meet me and talk with me and spend time with me, and also just when we do activism here in Thunder Bay, they come from all over. And then when I do activism in Toronto, I led a lot of activism there too. So I
Okay.
have lots of places wherever I go, and there happens to be something going on. I'm right there like a dirty shirt.
At least you're having fun and doing things that help.
Yeah, in a way. I just believe in things what the native people tell me, or the business native people tell me what's happening to them. So I just always believe that, well, we should just get together and let's fight it. Why talk about it? Well, that's what I always tell my people. Why talk about it? Let's do something about it.
In the artwork that you do you put a lot of your feelings and history into that?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them I haven't shown. I have shown a few of them on my web page, but I don't show a lot of it. I just show certain parts of them. I have 60 painting that represents my journey of my life, walking from the time that I remember the way it was and how it was with me. It's with the book, but it's not, there's no 60 paintings in the book. It's just that 60, I did 60 prior, and then I took some paintings off there. People took it, put it in the book. And those were the ones that I showed that really represent what I do and who I was about. My art is
Excellent.
not it's not like other people's art. Mine is a little bit different because I don't want to do anything same as everybody. I do work with certain animals, sometimes bear, sometimes wolf, it all depends. Sometimes deer. I just create my own whatever I get. When I talk to Manitou, I always say Manitou is my great spirit. I always say, okay, I'm going to bed tonight and I want you to guide me for tomorrow's artwork I'm going to do. And sure enough, in the middle of the night, I wake up and I have this vision that I have to do. So I just jump out of bed, sketch it out, and then go back to sleep. And then I work on it later. Because it to me, that's when somebody's speaking to me and telling me, hey, you got to do this. That's how I feel. And I trust that because it's not me creating it. It's somebody who is creating it for me. Somebody who I don't see, somebody who I cannot touch. And I think it's that higher power, whatever you want to call it, the God or whatever it is the one that's passing that information to me. I don't mind sharing the pic once the information is in my head, like the ones I shared already, I'm fine to talk about those ones, but I can't talk about the ones that haven't been. Some of them I'm using as storytelling, which I will be sharing down the road. And it's for the kids that I'm going to work with. And I really enjoy these kids, young people. And I always feel these young people, anywhere I work with, anywhere from 13 to 35 or 39-year-old people. So those are the people that I work with. And they're so much easier. Like if I stop and listen to them when they talk about things and they come and talk to me, it is really, to me, it's really, really important to be there for them because they're the ones that are going to be taking over my life when I get old and can't do anything anymore. They'll be doing the walk that I'm doing. That's why I guess that's why I'm very much interested in the young people, the youth and the young. That's what I like working with because to me they make more sense. And if I can give them all the information that I know, they will deliver that with the younger crew later.
On the island, they're very open about culture and that here. Uh, is there a way for that to be done
Oh,
where
definitely.
you're at?
We're doing it right now. Like I'll give you an example. Last week, the youth invited me to go watch them, to go listen to them, and to go talk to them at the Waverly Park, it's called. And they sat there and they did some art. They did art stuff, and they wanted me to walk with them on the day of the Canada Day. We canceled Canada Day, so instead of instead of doing Canada Day, we celebrated the babies, the children that was found in BC and all over across Canada. They will find them. So we celebrated those kids to come home and to remember them.
We did the same here. My wife and I, we we both wore orange and in
Yeah, we
support.
did that too. Yeah. You should have seen all the orange that was walking. I was the leader and everybody was behind. A lot of people came and joined us. It was over 500 people showed up. That was
Excellent.
nice for us for anything we ever did. That's the biggest number we've ever got when we're doing the parade. It was awesome.
It's important,
Yeah.
and I think those children's lives being lost, it's a tragedy, and we need to stand together and say this sort of thing can never happen
Yeah.
again.
And also to acknowledge them that they died for no reason. They died
Yeah.
for, they died for nothing because of prejudice. Communities, remove them from their communities, and you have to do this, or otherwise, you know, That's the part that I was a little bit angry at. My old the history of our First Nations people, the ones that signed treaty, they signed a bunch of stuff they didn't even know what they were signing.
They didn't understand the language of what they were signing
I
either.
know. Yeah. And that's what really got to me, that when I was thinking about it, thinking like my grandmother was right when she said, we made a big mess of Canada. Canada is like when the Canada Day was coming every year before she died, she told us, people are celebrating Canada Day, but that's not your celebration, she told me. And I said, oh, how come? Well, that's the day of today. That's the day of, she said, the day that Canada Day is celebrated is for the people that came to arrive in Canada. They took over our land. She said, they took over your land. She said, they took over everything. Why would you want to celebrate that? She told me. But
Yeah.
which was true because the school was celebrating something. And then over the years, I heard all the elders talk about those kind of things. Why are we celebrating? We don't have to celebrate Canada Day. And I did agree, but I went to these places, even when I was in Thunder Bay, people weren't really celebrating Canada Day. Some Native people weren't. But I went to these places because I wanted to go shopping and buy things that I never saw. You know how people bring their stuff, they come out and show what they have, and they sell things, and just like they do in gay pride meeting and gay pride, they have all these little tents put up with their stuff on there. So that's what I was doing. I didn't go there to celebrate Canada Day. I never did with my kids. I told them that it wasn't ours to celebrate. It was the White Way celebration. I said, to be nice, that's how I would say it was a White Way to celebrate it. I didn't tell them the bad things about it because I didn't want to sound, I let it go already, I don't want to be resentful. I don't want my kids to pick that up. Yeah, I wanted them to grow up loving everybody just like I've been doing, no matter what happens.
Yeah. It comes down to being able to love each other
Yeah.
and to live together and be at peace with each other.
Someday we're gonna have to, someday we're gonna have to do that, to be together, because we don't know what other people is going to do to Canada.
Is there any projects that you're working on
Right
now?
now, no, I'm sort of I'm planning a trip from Thunder Bay to Curve Lake, Ontario Reserve. I've been asked to be part of Curve Lake Pride, and they said they're going to come and get me. So they're going to drive to my city and pick me up and take me there. Yeah, and I don't mind that.
So you're going
Yeah,
to a
I'm
pride
going to be
parade.
leading the pride.
I loved talking to you today. I'm not going to keep you much longer because it is hot and I don't want to stress you out. Thank you very much for coming on with me.
When
That was my talk with Mene Chikabe. She is a great artist and activist. It was a great honor to talk to her and discuss her life and the experiences she's had. I hope that you've learned much from this. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.